Hello and welcome back to the Big Lad podcast. In this episode, I speak to Sigi Burger. We speak about her professional netball career and how she balances it around a busy day-to-day life. If you like this one, make sure you drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll let you get on with the episode. Sigi, welcome to the Big Lad podcast. How are we doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? We've been trying to get this going for about a year and a half.
I know. I've been dodging you for a year, and now I finally came. No, I'm joking. I know. I've been really excited to join, but I think so much has happened in my life, being a busy girl, that I just never got around to it. So when you hit me up today again, I just thought, let's get on it tonight. Why not?
Let's get it done.
Yeah.
So do you want to give everyone a quick introduction of who you are and sort of what you get up to? Because that's going to be a big topic on what we speak about.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I am Sigi Burger. I am 27 now. Oh, ancient. I'm 27. I'm from South Africa, and I'm a professional netball player in the Netball Super League here in England. I am also an international netball player, having played for South Africa in the 2018 and 2019 Commonwealth Games and Netball World Cup. And I also work a little bit. So Georgie and I know each other through my protein days. And I've also just come from training. So if I look a bit weird and I don't have eyebrows on, I do apologise.
You were massively stressing about that before we hit record. I'm sure it'll be okay. So obviously you're quite high up in the netball world. What got you into netball in the first place? Where did that all start?
So my mum was actually a SA netball player, and I come from quite a big sporting family. So she played, and then she fell pregnant with me, and I always joke and say I ruined her career. So she decided to live her dream through me. Which isn't quite the case, but yeah, she was old enough. She was 33. So yeah, I was 4 years old when I started playing. And
wow.
I was always a big girl. I think if we had to stand next to each other, you and I, it's the Big Lad and G podcast, because I'm 6'2". So I was always a big baby. And yeah, so my mum would just pull me out of pre-primary, which is kindergarten, I guess, for you guys, and then make me go train with the under sevens. So I guess my mum really got me into it. My dad was an athlete, but he was more long distance, 800 meter, mid distance, 800 meter, 1,500. So yeah, that's in short how I got into this.
So I imagine you come from a reasonably tall background then, if you're 6'2" yourself.
Yeah, I'm 6'2", my mum's 6 foot, my dad is 6'4", and this is where the plot twist comes in. My dad's the shortest of his 5 siblings. So,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, my cousin and uncle were big name rugby players back in the day. So, yeah, it helps to have the height and build on your side.
Yeah, so does that sort of saying you don't choose your sport, the sport chooses you, doesn't it? Based on height and things like that. So is that how your mum originally got into it in the first place, because she was tall, or was it just a coincidence?
No. So I think my mum is German and my dad's South African.
Right.
But they don't even play netball in Germany, but she grew, so she's not really, I don't think she grew up super sporty. She always rode horse and stuff. And she played, she went to private boarding school and stuff. And, they played netball, but they weren't super competitive or anything. And then my mom's story is actually really cool, because she just would go watch netball at university. And then in half times or quarter times, she would put up a few shots and stuff. And then they saw her and they were like, oh, she's quite accurate. And they invited her to trial or play for the 9th university team. And then she went from 9th, 8th, 5th, thirds, and then firsts. And then she got into the equivalent of county. And then she made the SA top 10 or whatever it was back in the day, because they were sanctioned due to apartheid. So yeah, my mum basically just was natural, but unidentified till way later in life. And
wow.
Yeah, I guess mine was just, I played it, but I did everything else: athletics, tennis, swimming, horse riding, ballroom and Latin dancing, the musical instruments and stuff. But I guess netball kind of just stuck with me for the longest.
List that.
Yeah, I mean, I won world champion of ballroom and Latin dancing when I was 10 years old. Fun fact. But that's probably the one sport I wish, the one thing I still wish I did. But apart from that, everything else, nah. I think netball just like decided to attach itself.
You're only 27. You can go back to it after you finish your netball career.
Exactly. No, me and netball are really well trauma bonded together, so I don't think that will leave me anytime soon.
So obviously you started playing netball at 4 years old.
Yeah.
When was it that you came over to the UK then?
21 years old. I was such a baby. So
was that due to the netball side of things, or?
Yeah, I only came for netball. So really randomly, this was in November 2017. So I did my ACL, MCL, MPFL, like a full knee reconstruction in February that year. And then I think I was cleared 6 months post-operation. And during that time, I had been in contact with the head coach at a club here in England. And we had had a bit of a conversation because I had already been playing a bit of international netball. And I knew my degree, because in South Africa, our university degree is January to December, our academic years. So I knew I was graduating in December that year. And I was like, well, I can do postgrad, or I could see if there are opportunities this side. And basically, because when we were having our conversations, I hadn't actually been back on court yet. She was like, how about you just come train with us for a month at the end of the year? So I wrote my last exam. I think it was economics. I wrote 9 to 12 o'clock. Got out the exam room, drove straight to the airport, and that night I climbed on a flight and landed here. I trained with them, absolutely fell in love with England, fell in love with the club, but they had, because I had said, like, I'll come train, they had already filled all their spots. And another club heard that I was here and was looking to sign, and they phoned me and they were like, hey, what's up? We've got a spot. Would you like to come have a chat? So off I went down to Surrey, and that's where my career started this side. So, yeah. I
didn't know that you were part of the Dodgy Knee Club as well.
Yeah, we love it.
I did notice.
Team Rehab, woo.
I was trying to look for a thumbnail pic before for your Instagram, and I did actually notice that you had some scars around your knee. I was going to ask you about that. I have not had the operation where
I properly zoom in on my knee.
Well, no, like I was just like scrolling through. I was like, hold on, there's some scar in there. She must have had a knee op, but I know so many people that have had knee ops now. It's not good. I know too many people that it's happened to.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you had a worse injury than I have. And I've got a pretty extensive list of problems with my knee.
Honestly, I've broken my arms 5 times from falling off the horse. 5 times falling off the horse. Knees, all my ankle ligaments are gone. I broke my collarbone. It's still like dodgy. I don't know if you can see it in this lighting, but there's like a bit of a lump here because I broke my collarbone, but I broke my arm. And I was complaining about both, but my mum's like, it's fine, it's just your arm. But then a few years later, the doctor was like, oh, your collarbone broke. And it's just like, that's why it's grown back skew.
Wow. So you've had a fair old amount of injuries.
You know what? It's so funny because I love it. Like my mum's German and she just raised me so tough. Like when I would break my arm, I would be like in plaster of Paris. And then my mum would be to my dad like, oh yeah, we're going to a horse show this week. And then my dad would be like, Ziggy's got a broken arm. She's not going anywhere. And then my mum would like the next morning waltz into because in South Africa we have private health. That's just how it works. So my mum would like waltz into the doctor's office, and instead of being like, Dr. Retief, she'd just walk in and be like, Krista, your hun doesn't believe that Ziggy can ride with a broken arm. Please, can you just write a medical letter to say Ziggy can ride with like a broken arm? And then the doctor was probably so scared. She'd like write like a sick note, be like, yeah, Ziggy can play a ride. And then I would go ride with like a cast and everything. It was wild. Like we love it. We raise him tough. So when I cry or if I'm in pain, you know, something.
It's bad.
Wow. I blame my thin. Sorry, this is off topic, but like I blame my thin hair as well on my mum because when we would be at horse shows, she would like forget the hairbrush and she'd be like brushing my hair with a metal mane comb that she'd be using on the horse, and I used to have like beautiful long blonde natural like thick hair, and then like but like it would like get stuck and she like. They're like chunks of it. So yeah, so we raise them tough, eh? We love it.
It sounds it. So you say that you came over to Surrey then for your first club in the UK. Yeah. Does that work similar to like football and rugby where it's like a transfer fee, or is it literally just a case of signing for a club?
So I was a different case. I don't know how it actually works. Because I was unsigned.
Right.
So I was unsigned coming in, and they got me on the last day. Like I saw them at like 3 p.m. that afternoon, and the names had to be into England netball by 5 p.m. that night.
Transfer deadline day.
Yeah, and the worst is I was 21. My mum and dad were in my brother's graduation ceremony, so their phones were off. So I couldn't, like, for me, I was such a immature, like, young, emotionally mindset kind of thing. Like, independent in loads of ways, but, like, in terms of decision making. So, like, I couldn't even get hold of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to, like, make a decision. So I just closed my eyes and I signed. But I was really excited. And, yeah, so I came on a German passport, and because we were still like EU, UK before Brexit, that was fine. So I counted as a domestic player as well. So they didn't have to pay any fees to anyone either. It was great.
So you came straight over from South Africa, signed for that club. Did you then have to find work, or can you sort of survive on a netball salary in the UK?
So when I came over, I was still like doing post-grad the first year.
Okay.
And the money we made, I joke about it now. And I'm like, I honestly have no idea how I survived because I was such a late signing. And in netball, how it works is like you've got a salary bracket for like the whole team. It's gotten way bigger now. And I think there are different rules. I'm speaking under correction. But I think it's like you used to have now you can have 2 marquee players. I don't know how it worked back then, but they literally scraped together the last bit of budget. So I'm not actually even afraid to talk about it because compared to now, I'm living in paradise. But like back then, it was like £900 a month and my rent was £650 a month.
Wow.
So I had £250 to live off, and I didn't even think of coaching or doing anything like that. Like,
That's insane. It's £250 a month to live on. What are you living on? Like pot noodles every day?
No, I don't know. And I ate, well, I don't know, honestly. But then I got like, when you coach, you get paid like in netball, the coaching money is like decent. Like coach for an hour, get paid like 100 quid an hour kind of thing. So you can make it up. So I would go coach occasionally and then I'd like make big dough. So that was fine. But yeah, I don't know, that first year. And then after that, everything changed because after that, I got high up in the pecking order. So
you start getting a bit more wage.
I didn't have the no stressing of like, can you transfer me £3 so I can buy a meal deal energy? Now I laugh at those days. Shame, sweet girl. So I didn't work actually for the first year. Second year again, I didn't, but I could live off the money I was making. So it was fine.
Right.
It's not footballers' wages at all.
I didn't think it might be quite that that amount of money.
It's also not rugby players' wages, but it was decent. Like I could live off it, I could save, and I could travel if I had to. So it was fine. Also, mind you, like we used to get paid from Netball South Africa too, but that's on a completely different like basis. And then when I moved, so 2 years in Surrey, and then I moved to London Pulse, and with that contract came a job to coach at a school, and that's where I first realized, oh wait, you can work and do netball. Like there are enough hours in a day to do both. And I did that. COVID happened, and I realized, you know what, coaching is not for me. Like I'm not bad at it, but I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And then my boyfriend at the time, my ex, he was like, why don't you just use your degree? Because my degree was in economics, and I was like, are you absolutely like laughing? This is now 2020. I wrote my last exam in November 2017. Do you think I can remember anything? He's like, bruh, try it. And then I got a job in investment banking for 13 months, which was amazing. Like, honestly, I still have so much like love and respect for my colleagues, the CEO, Tony Stenning, shout out Tony, and Atlantic House Investments. And then after that, I was like, okay, you know what, that was amazing. So stressful. I am definitely not smart enough to work in that industry. So I've moved over to like software as a service, like artificial intelligence. So Yeah.
Very nice.
And so basically that I only started properly working in 2020, like having a real adult job.
So you say, obviously, it took you some time to actually realise that there was enough time in the day to do work outside of netball. What does like a standard week in a netballer's life look like? How often do you train? How long for? How many matches do you have a week? Like, how does it all work?
So obviously, like every club, it's varied completely. And also in the season, it varies. So to use this week, let's just use this week, for example. We had off yesterday because we played Saturday. So we had off yesterday as recovery. Today we gymmed and like did a bit of conditioning. And then, so we'll gym and train for like an hour and a half, 2 hours on a Monday. Tuesday, we'll have like video analysis and then like 2 hours of training, 90 minutes to 2 hours of training. And then Wednesday mornings, we have a 90 minutes of training followed by an hour of gym. And then Thursdays will be again training for 90 minutes to 2 hours with video analysis again. Then Friday, we would usually rest and then Saturday play.
It's quite a hectic week.
I forgot this week. So this week it's just gym, tomorrow 90 minutes and to 2 hours and then VA, and then Wednesday again training in the evening because we're playing Friday and Sunday. So
wow. It's quite a hectic week though, isn't it? Like it's a lot of training. So what, you say that you're in the gym, what sort of workouts are you doing in the gym as netballers? Like, is it standard weightlifting? Like what sort of, is it any certain drills?
So this is actually something you would find really interesting if you were to chat to like our S&C coaches, because all our programs are so differently, like it's so different. So I'm a shooter and even me to like a goalkeeper. So we both play in the circle. We both are like jumping for the same balls. But like even that, like our workouts are very different. So for me, a focus is like what I need is like plyometrics. And so I need lots of explosiveness. But at the same time, I need stability because when I'm going for a ball, I can't like, I need to firstly like be able to hold it up here, but I have like weight jumping on me. Or if I get the ball, they knock me, I need to like be solid enough. So I can't be like heavy and bulky, but I need to be bulky to like hold my space, but then I need to be able to jump. So it's like building a puzzle, whereas like our mid quarters might need like loads of change of direction explosions, but then they also need to lift heavy. Like, so it's just so wild. So in my program, it would be like, at the moment, I'm like on a maintenance program. Pre-season, it was completely different. So at the moment, like today, I did hang cleans, and then I would do like Turkish get-ups?
Yeah.
Like the up. So I would do Turkish get-ups, a lot of like single arm rowing, calf raises, a lot like single leg RDLs, because again, you need like that like balance and the proprioception muscles and all the VMOs and hammies, everything working isolated. And then you do like slow, like, okay, this is all your fitness friends are judging you so bad, but like it's like slow down and an explosion up squats. Like, okay.
yeah, I'm with you, don't worry.
And then it's just like a lot of like landmine presses and stuff. So at the moment we're trying to like get me like shoulders like yours, just like really strong, but and then like strong, like explosive legs. So it's like strong upper body and then like light fairy legs.
Okay, I'm with you. It makes sense.
I'm giving myself the ick, but you know what I mean. And then like speed and agility would just be like loads of changes of direction or
like short runs and things like that.
Bikes, 30 on, 30 off, that kind of thing. So
right. And then with that, what does a netball session, like training session, look like? Is that?
Again, it varies completely, but usually it would be like warm up and then a little bit of, I don't know, like technical bits, and then just a lot of refining whatever we've picked up or preparing for the next match. So if I was to look at this weekend who I'm playing against, we would analyze like what they do well, what they don't, and what I need to do to combat that. But at the same time, I need to make sure what I do well, I'm continuously doing well and getting even better at that. So it's a lot of like opposition versus like what we do well, just like keep doing that. So yeah, but in preseason, you guys would love that. It's like animals. It's like lift those weights, like 180 kilo hip thrusts. Like how heavy can you squat? How high can you jump? It's like small like gym bros, like biceps, triceps.
Different animals.
Yeah, we love it. Absolutely. It's like go home, tackle a sheep in the field, throw it over you and come back. Not actually, but it's that. I love it F45 for a preseason as well. I think F45 is really good just to do.
It's like hit classes and things like that.
It's different because usually we're lifting like 3 sets, 4 sets, 4 reps, 3 sets, 5 reps. Heavy, but then F45 burns me out and I get so embarrassed because it's like I can't lift 6 kilos for 90 seconds because like my body's not used to doing like 40 reps. Do you know what I mean? So it's really fun to like challenge yourself in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice to mix it up in pre-season, but it sounds quite similar to like what a football season would be like. Obviously, you have that downtime of playing and it's time to like rebuild yourself back up and get yourself ready for that next season. Then you hit sort of a maintenance phase throughout the rest of the season.
Exactly. Like on a Monday, I'll try to like lift heavy because then I've got enough time for the week for my muscles to like chill. And because if I was to be lifting heavy on a Wednesday, then I'll probably still be feeling it by like Friday.
That's what I'm always trying to.
I get 48-hour DOMs, so
wow, yeah, not ideal. Yeah, I always I try and get 2 leg days in a week, so it's quite hard balancing that around training and then a game on a Saturday.
Yeah,
so always trying to figure out which way the best way to go about it is, but
yeah,
it's far from ideal. You've got to keep that those legs strong so you have stable knees.
I know.
You'll know all about that.
And the ankles. I did my ankle the other day. I would show you guys, but I don't sell my feed pics for free.
I'll put a link in the bio.
It was a huge, literally link in bio. It was like my ankles, they're just so gross at the moment. The guy who one day marries me, I'm going to feel so sorry for him because I'm going to be like a granny, like arthritis from like fat ankles, from like all the scar tissue everywhere. It's great. They've netballers.
It's not just that as well, it's tall people problems as well.
Yeah,
you're going to have as well.
Oh my gosh.
Both of us though, you're 6'2", I'm 6'4". We're both going to have tall people problems quite early on, which is I'm not looking forward to be honest.
Literally, gosh. And it's like the concussions, so the head's coming back. It's great. Well,
I don't have any concussions, luckily.
Back aches, knee aches. Gosh, look at us. We're such catchers, aren't we?
I know, yeah. I'm 27 tomorrow as well, so
happy
getting old. Oh, thank you.
Everybody, if you're watching this, please comment now. If you're watching on the YouTube, please comment. Happy birthday to Georgie.
Yeah, thanks everyone. So going on from that then, so you obviously have a very busy netball schedule throughout the week. What sort of hours do you work around that with work? Is it standard 9 to 5 work or is it different hours?
So I'm very, very lucky. The company I work for, HireView, they are the most accommodating ever. So if I train, say now on a Wednesday, we train like 8 to 11. That means I'm technically missing 2 hours of a 9 to 5 job. I will just make sure that I work till like 7 p.m. that night.
Right, okay.
So I do work standard 9 to 5, but if I need to go for like, I don't know, an individual or technical session or whatever, the coaches, my bosses are just like, just take it off, like, or like just work it, take it off and work it in somewhere else. But also like the company I chose to work for, every second Friday we get a half day Friday. So it might just be like, if I've had to take leave for a Monday match or a Friday or whatever, then I usually will just work it in somewhere. Or in the week, I just try to work every single week a full hours of week because I know I'm missing work somewhere or another for netball. So yeah,
it's always good to have understanding bosses. Makes things a lot easier.
Absolutely. But I also like, if there are any athletes that are listening that are struggling with their bosses, I'm just like, there are so many companies who are so accommodating. Like for them, they get so excited to have athletes working for them because of all the transferable skills we have, like the discipline, the motivation, working under pressure, those kind of things. And if your boss is giving you grief on it, like find another one, because I promise you, there are even like recruitment companies who like specialize in athletes, and they find you jobs where like your bosses are like happy to be flexy. So yeah,
it's not just that as well. If you don't ask as well, you never know. Like, you're never going to know, are you, if you don't ask? Most people are probably going to be quite understanding about it.
Yeah, and if they're not, then they're not good. Nice
Then,
people.
yeah. Well,
Or if
it's
the
not the
job
company for
doesn't
you.
allow it, then that's fine. Then that job just isn't for
Yeah,
you.
just find something that suits your situation, I guess. So how do you balance netball, your job, social life? Because you're always on holiday, off to different places. How do you balance all three of them?
No, it's difficult. It's like that triangle. You can't have all three. And I do feel it sometimes. Okay, work, I've got pretty good. Like, it's about just routine, like doing the same thing. Like, I'm a creature of habit. So if something's wrong, or like if I do something erratic, then I feel very out of routine, and then I feel like your pot's back.
I'm very similar.
You know what I mean? Like, like,
yeah.
I'm just like, I can't.
I think it's the sports side of things, isn't it? Like, you get so ingrained in like habits and routines and stuff, it goes into your work life as well.
Well, it's easy because, and I become, I don't know about you, but I become like obsessed over something. And then I'm like, at the moment, and people are joking, but like my whole team is joking with me. But like, the chokehold that cottage cheese has on me at the moment, like I am obsessed. I don't know where that came from. I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm like obsessed with cottage cheese. But it's the same thing with this. Like, I am obsessed with my work and I'm obsessed with my netball. So that's fine. It's easy to fit in. The issue comes in social life, like just having family time, etc. It's very, very difficult for me to juggle that. Like, even when I go home to South Africa, obviously I'm so happy to be home because I miss my parents. I'm such a mommy and daddy's girl. But like, I still work because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't not work kind of thing. It's really, really
working holiday.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think it helps that I don't drink alcohol. People think I am always blackout drunk, but that's because I just have it's my personality. Like, I just have a lot of energy. And when people are going to go out with me, they know like, oh my gosh, they are getting blackout drunk tonight. Because like, I will just be drinking tap water. That's it. Maybe a Coke Zero. But like, I just like love like a good time. And I just like, my energy just keeps like going. And for them to match my energy, they need to drink. And I'm also the type, like, I won't drink, but that's probably because I'm a control freak. And also like, I don't see the point because I have so much fun without alcohol. But like, if my friends like glasses are empty, I'll be like, it's fine, I'm getting you a drink. I'll be like, shots everybody. And then everyone's like, is it not weird that you're not drinking? I'm like, of course I'm drinking. I tell the bartender, pour me a water shot, and I feel a water shot, like
pushing the boat up.
I'm involved. I'm just not actually taking the alcohol, and it's great because the next morning I'm hydrated because I've drunk like 6 liters of water that previous night and ready to go. But I think I'm starting to get old because at midnight nowadays I'm like, you know what would be nice?
It's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So is there a reason behind you not drinking alcohol, or is it just a personal preference?
So my cousins own a vineyard and I don't drink, which is very ironic. And there's no actual reason. It's more just like, I've never seen the point in drinking.
Yeah.
Also, like, I was in an all-girls boarding school, and like when every Friday I'd be playing netball. So we obviously, like, in our boarding school, we were really, really like nuns, like well-behaved, like good girlies. So Friday nights we'd all just like be having bread eating competitions in boarding school, like leg hair growing competitions. So stupid, like that kind of thing.
Sounds fun.
I know, such a child. Date me, please. I'm joking. And so like that, and then Saturdays we'd play, and then my parents would come fetch me, and then I'd drive home 2.5 hours to the middle of nowhere, and then Sundays they'd drive me 2.5 hours back, so I'd be home for like 24 hours at a max. So I never understood the social life, like the drinking, like it didn't make sense. And then I went to uni, and I just like never saw the point. I was just like, but I'm also like very, very good girl. So I was just like, no, it shouldn't. So I just didn't.
You obviously as well came to the UK at 21, which is a bit old, well, a fair bit older than most people start to drink in this country. So you missed that, obviously.
Like, when people would be like, do you want to drink or don't you drink? I'd be like, nah. And then they'd be like, but it's like, they're like, why not? I'd be like, bruh, look how fun I am without it. So yeah, but usually, like, genuinely, I will get bounced because I'll be like, she's blackout drunk. But I'm just like, genuinely, like, just having a good time. So also it would be dangerous. Like, I'm huge and my arms are so long. Like, imagine like uncontrolled limbs flying everywhere. And then low key, I think it's because I'm a control. Like, if I was to pick up a career-ending injury from like not having control over my body, like that would be stupid. So I'm just like, rather
So
not.
you say you get bounced from clubs from
Yeah.
being too erratic, sober?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I mean once or twice, you know, maybe 4 times or I don't
Just
know.
this month.
Every now and again.
Wow.
No, it's just like if people cause trouble, I'm just like, come on. And then they use I don't know. I'm not a fighter. I'm just very outspoken. And my dance moves are also quite erratic. So, yeah.
Yeah, see, I always feel too tall and awkward to be on a dance floor. So
No,
I'm usually slightly off the side until I've had too many drinks and then I'm in the middle.
No, you should come join us. I promise you, come join us because I feel normal height like around my friends. So you would like fit in.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You're all netballers. It'd make sense if you were all tall.
I love it. And all of my guy mates, like they're all rugby boys and they're also just like so fun. Like no one has rhythm, no one can dance to save their lives, but we like absolutely love it. Like main character energy here.
So going back to the balance and everything, do you have any ways of doing like balancing things out? Do you sort of plan your weeks out ahead? Do you block out time in calendars? Is there any sort of ways that you go about doing it?
I would just say like figure it out. So I always tell people like, especially university students, when they come in and they're like, oh, like we came to study, but we also like want to play netball or play rugby or whatever they want to do, and then have a social life. I'm always like, don't deprive yourself. Like, don't be like, oh my gosh, I need to now just full focus on like netball because I want to play netball for England. Because I'm like, what if you like gave up everything, gave up your whole social life, and then like you never end up making an England team, but you never actually had a university experience because you were so petrified of stepping foot wrong. And it's like, yeah, so that's why I'm like, for me, that's what I just realized. It's about balance. Like I don't plan my weeks out. I'm just like, I do like structure, but for the social aspect, that's the only thing I wing. I'll just be like today, I was like, well, I've got an hour free, so let's chat. Like, I just think like I limit myself to something. So I'm like, if I've had like one evening of catching up with mates or going into town or whatever, then I'm like, okay, cool, like that's enough. And I'll just like settle yourself again. Because again, you can't be going out every night or be going to bed late, even if you're not going out, but like because then you can't perform optimally. So I'll just like give myself like 1 day slack a week. Diet-wise, oh my gosh, we're not even talking about that because that is a different story. But yeah, when I know that my work and my netball is structured, then I can play with the little bit of free time I have around it. And the reason I don't like to set that in stone is because then I feel too restricted. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but then I feel smothered. I'm like, I'm a robot at this stage. Where am I supposed to be Ziggy and like live my life? Like if everything is like, you know how pop stars are like, this is what you're going to eat, this is what you're going to dress, this is what you're going to say at this interview. Like, I don't like that. Like, I like to have some structure and then the rest I can color in. So yeah, I guess that's what's worked for me. But again, like if you're a uni student, I'd say structure it out because you have to. It's taken me 8 years to like figure it out.
Yeah, so if you look at my calendar, it is pretty much mapped out from the start of the week to the end of the week. I can be flexible around things. Like I just like to have things planned in certain times, but I'm willing to move them around as long as they happen within that week, if you get what I mean.
Right.
So I know when I'm working, I know what workouts I'm doing throughout the week. I know when I'm doing a podcast, I know when I've got free time. I can be flexible around moving them about, but as long as I know that I've got sort of at least some structure throughout the week, I'm quite happy and comfortable. It's when I have massive amounts of free time, I'm just like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Like,
do you have OCD?
No, it's just I like having like structure.
Okay, no, and that's fair.
Yeah, no, like I say, I can be flexible around it. I just like putting stuff in my diary to know that what I've got on.
That's good. Yeah. So if you had to ask any of my friends, work-wise, I'm so structured.
I've got to-do lists all over the place.
Like I am the most erratic with social life. Like I said, I structure it, but like last year, I literally was like chilling at work one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, this client is giving me grief. So it was like 4:30, and I was like, okay, work ends at 5. At 5, I ordered an Uber to Leeds Airport. Right? I packed a backpack. I ordered a taxi, and I went to like the ticketing desk, and I said, "What flight can you put me on tonight?" And they were like, "There's a flight in an hour to Mallorca." I was like, "Sick." Booked it. And then like flew to like in the airport. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to get a hotel and everything." And I'd gone through security. I was like, "Okay, like let's bring it." So like for me, my manager will phone me and be like, "Sigi, please tell me you're not in New York today." I'm like, "No." And she's like, she'll be like, "Okay," and I'll be like, "I promise." It's like, yeah, it's like, you know, like my weekends is a bit erratic, especially if it's off season. Then I am, but like here, there, everywhere. But like in season, I'm pretty like professional.
See, I make impulse decisions, but I've never gone straight to an airport.
And it's so fun. So fun.
Me and my mates nearly did it.
To be fair, it's a bit worrying.
Me and my mates nearly did it a few years ago, but then one of my mates' passports was out of date, so we didn't go. But we literally were sat in there in the pub. We all had a pint of Guinness, and we were like, should we just go Dublin tonight? And we literally planned it all out. What time, like the flight we were going to get. We were going to just do an all-nighter and get the first flight home in the morning. And then my mate, like literally as we were going to get in a taxi to go pick all of our passports up, he was like, my passport ran out like last month. And he just killed the whole vibe. And we all just ended up going home. It was a shocker. But, yeah, maybe one day.
Well, you're more than welcome to join us in Croatia this year. I'm chartering a yacht, so...
Yeah, I saw that on your story. What's happening? What is happening there?
So we're going on Yacht Week, which basically is like 7 days. It's like a party on water. So
I think I've heard about this before, actually.
Yeah, last year I did something not really like that, but so basically what Yacht Week this year is going to be like. So every day you like go to like you drive like you sail to a different island. And then, like, in the day, they, like, throw anchor, and then, like, I think they're, like, I don't know, like at least 10 yachts, but usually it's, like, up to, like, 30 yachts or something. It's 280 people, basically, that are, like, traveling, like, island hopping together. And then they'll have, like, huge, like, raft parties and, like, put all the yachts together, and then in the middle, you've got all your floaties and stuff. So, basically... I've
seen this before,
every night you party on a different island, and then in the day, you're, like, in the water, but, like... exploring. So it's like,
and you'll be the only one without a hangover.
It's great. So yeah, last year we were like on a big yacht of like, we were like 33 people. It was so fun.
Wow.
And it was just us that went from island to island, but it was like we were like a big family. It was so fun.
If anyone's listening that's interested in going, Sigi's got her DMs open for applications. So I've seen on a story before.
Fun, though. Like that's the only rule is like don't be psycho and be fun.
Yeah, you've got to send a video application to show how fun you are.
Exactly. And the rule is like you're not allowed to find anyone on your boat attractive, because otherwise it gets awkward. Do you know what I mean? Like
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, like a drama can cause because 7 days is a long day. You meet loads of people, and it's just like be a good vibe. That's all.
How much does it cost to charter a yacht, by the way? For a week. A lot, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it depends. It depends what month you sail. Let's put it that way. Like,
What about yacht week?
don't try like charter a yacht in like July. Don't try charter like a top of the range catamaran in July because then it's going to cost you like £16,000 for like 8 people.
Oh my god. $2,000 each, and you've not even spent £1.
And you've not even paid for your petrol off the boat or port fees. Yeah, don't do that one. We do smart way, so you can DM me and I'll send you pricing. I got some inside detail.
Managed to get a deal.
Yeah, I almost made an inappropriate joke, but I shouldn't, so it's fine.
So in your netball career, then going back to that, have you came up across like any issues? Like, you know, obviously you've had your injuries. Is there anything that you've struggled with I don't mean with any people, so don't be name dropping people that you've had issues with.
Yeah, it's about to be like, because if you had to ask the net, there's a lot that the netball will do once you know. So you could almost open the whole can of it. There's a lot that people need to know, and it's a very obvious question, but I'm not going to answer that on here. Sorry if you've been listening.
We'll do it off record.
No, like honestly, sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The thing for me has just been like, obviously there's been like loads of disappointments in my life, in my career. It's like injuries. Like in 2017, January, we played a match against like England's under-21s because it was the World Youth Cup, so under-21 Baby World Cup in July 2017. And obviously I captained the girls in January in a test match, and then like the next week I did my ACL basically. So again,
was that during a game?
No, in training before I was supposed to play for the senior pro tiers, like the senior national team against Australia the next day. But like again, like things like that, because that means I got operated in Feb, but there was no ways I would have been able to play the first week of July in the World Youth Cup. And then like obviously in 4 years' time, because it's every 4 years, you're too old to play another World Youth Cup. So like, you know, there are things like that that have been really disappointing. Like injuries that have taken me out of situations. So like that, or, you know, we were at the World University Netball Champs, and on day one, I did my ankle, like all the ligaments off. And it's like, you know, it just sucks. It's again, like every few years thing. It's a huge honor to be there, but just can't. So yeah, there've been like loads of injuries, loads of politics, a lot of politics. But I guess that's sport, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's life.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Life isn't fair. But what I always say is like, it's not about the amount of time to get knocked down. It's about the amount of time to get up. And like, I always like to think of myself as like a buoy, a buoy, one of those like, you can like push it underwater, and the harder and deeper you push it underwater, the more resilient it is. So you can like push it as deep as you want, but the minute you move your hand, it's going to pop up. So that's genuinely like how I like to say, like, yeah, you can try to push me down, knock me down, but hey, like, nobody loves a comeback more than someone who's been wrongfully. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's how you react to it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, you get two types of people when you get disappointed. It's either people are like, oh, I'm not good enough, I suck, like I'm done, or it can be people be like, okay, this is what you thought you're doing. You thought you got the better of me, or whatever, or like, oh, you thought that it was at the end of the situation, but look, I'm going to come back so strong, and I'm going to be like so good that like they have to choose you again. Like, so it's like, oh, you get injured, but it's like, okay, well now you need to just switch your mindset and be like, this is an opportunity for me to breathe, like rebuild myself. But like the amount of strength I can gain from like this comeback or this rehab is like wild, and I'm going to like outdo myself. Like, I'm not going to even be able to believe how strong I'm coming back. Like, my knee was a brand new knee, basically. And, like, now it's my dominant knee. It's my dominant leg. Like, it's wild.
Yeah.
Like, I trust my broken bionic knee more than I trust, like, the knee I was born with. It's weird.
Yeah, when I went through my rehab with my knee, I didn't have the operation, but my legs were the strongest they'd ever been when I was going through that rehab. And then, yeah, I took a while out of playing football. Like, I only played at a local level, but I decided to take a bit of a while out of it. So instead, I could do pretty much anything in a straight line. It didn't bother my knee. So I did a sprint triathlon, and then I also did a half marathon without any training, which was a bit silly. But yeah, I'm looking to get back into playing football now. I've been training the last couple of weeks, and it's, fingers crossed, been okay so far.
Oh, wicked. Awesome. That's exciting. Can we come watch?
I wouldn't bother. Saturday League football. But yeah, the knee's one of them. I think at one point in my life, I'm going to need like a pretty much brand new knee. Like the whole lot, just chop it just above and just below, and just put something new in. Yeah, it's going to be one of them, because the last MRI I had last year is about 2 A4 pages worth of issues. Yeah.
What have you been doing all through the social football?
Yeah, so it actually first happened 6 or 7 years ago. I was playing football and I pushed the ball down the line and basically a lad scissored me around my leg. So his whole weight went straight through my knee, which was planted. And at the time, because I was only young, I didn't go and get it checked out. I just thought I'd twisted my knee.
Lanky, I guess. So you was like very like stretched out and not like muscular.
Yeah, I just thought I've twisted my knee, and then 2 weeks later I started playing. It turns out I'd partially tore my ACL at that point without knowing, and then about 4 years ago, I think it was, I was playing football again, and I was literally just volleying a ball, and because I was playing on artificial grass, there was no like twist in my ankle, so all the weight went through my knee, and all I heard was this massive clunk, and I was like, what the hell was that? It was like the first minute of a game, and I stupidly played the whole 90, and then after it I literally couldn't walk. So then I was like, right, time to get an MRI, and luckily with work I just started private medical with Bupa, so like that started on the 1st of Jan, and I think it was something like the 6th of Jan I completely ruptured my ACL. I've also got a tear in my MCL that goes like from the front to the back diagonally. I've got worn out cartilage on both parts of my leg. I've got a worn out kneecap. There's a few floating bones and stuff in there. But surprisingly, it doesn't really bother me on a day-to-day basis.
That's so good. Well, I guess you've probably answered this in previous podcasts, but like for anyone listening, how do you juggle like still like staying strong in the gym and stuff? Do you work through it or do you work around it? Like what have you found is successful for you?
Consistency mainly. So when I was I went through rehab for about 5 months with it, because I decided I didn't want the operation because I'd known loads of people that have had it and didn't hear great things from it. So I had about 5 months of rehab, and I was doing legs 3 times a week pretty much. At first it was like absolutely brutal. It was disgusting, especially when it was in the gym throughout the summer, because the aircon broke as well, so it was like 35 degrees in the gym. It was minging. And it was literally the same workout 3 times a week for 5 months near enough. Like it progressed a little bit. A few of the exercises got harder and things like that, but mainly consistency, and just thinking that this is what you've got to do to make yourself stronger, essentially. Like, because if you don't do it, then your knee's going to be weak, and then you're probably going to have issues in just normal day-to-day life, never mind trying to work out or play football or run or whatever. I mean, I don't tend to have any issues whatsoever. It's like really weird situations where it actually causes me a problem. It'll be like getting out of the car, and you know, like as you turn to get out, because it's my right leg. So sometimes I'll put my foot down and it sort of lodges out of place a little bit. Yeah, and I can feel it, and it'll bother me for about a day, and then it'll be back to normal. It's really strange. Like I've had it in like the strangest situations. I'm like, I've played football this week, not had a problem. I've leg pressed like 300 kilos this week, not a problem. I've squatted. I've done so many things. I've ran like a 5K, not an issue. Stepped out my car and all of a sudden click, and it's I'm like, how?
No, honestly. Yeah. So I'm like, well, that's what the woman who rehabbed me, we call them biokineticists in South Africa, Juanita Smith. She was insane. Like the way that she got me to rehab, like I think for me the thing was like I was very aware it was a new knee, like hyper aware. Because I obviously originally had no proprioception. I couldn't like bend my knee. I was locked in a 30-degree brace, like 30-degree lock for 6 weeks.
You have to teach yourself how to walk again, don't you?
6 weeks with 2 crutches, right? 6 weeks post-op, they take the thing off, which literally you've not moved your leg. Then you take the brace off and they take both your crutches away. So from being hyper protected, you're like left open to the wild, and you're like, oh my goodness. So the thing is, like, I was aware this is a new knee. Like, I couldn't get my bend back. I was like, am I ever going to be... Like, I still can't sit on my haunches. Like, it's just...
I can't do that. My knee clicks out of place if I do that.
Yeah, but, like, then, you know, we started, like, just the first time I cycled, the first time I jogged. And then, like, the thing where it clicked for me, and after this, I knew, like, I'm on the home run, was... I had always been like so hyper aware. And then I went to Mallorca with one of my best friends, and we went dancing the one night. And like I was like loving it. And I was just like, oh wow, like this knee just like is mine. Do you know what I mean? And like I almost like became familiar with my knee again. And then after
Yeah.
that, I was like scared of nothing. I was like, nah, it's fine. And then like all my rehab just like went, and I was like,
So did you have the hamstring graft?
yeah.
Yeah. It's the most popular one, isn't it? Do you seem to have any problems with your hamstrings now? Because I've got, like I say, I know so many lads that have had it done through playing football. They've also had the hamstring graft, and they said that it's really tight. Like, they have issues where they like can pull their hamstring quite easily, or they literally like, you know, where you used to be able to touch your toes, couldn't do that either. Like, do you have any issues with
Touch
pull
wood?
down? No. Watch it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm huge. My legs are like my proportions are like this is my upper body and these are my legs. Like, and I can touch my toes. Yeah, like touch wood. The other side gives me a bit of problems in my hammy, but nothing in my operated leg. Yeah.
See, I can, like, if I'm stood there, I can feel the difference between the two of them. It's really weird.
Really?
And especially if it's cold. Yeah. So, like, my right one, almost, like, that's my bad one. It almost feels, like, more compressed. Like, the two bones are slightly more, like, closer together. Whereas my other one just feels normal. And then in the cold, I have to properly warm my knee up. Like, otherwise, like, when I go to do legs, if I'm squatting, I have to do, like, 10 minutes on the treadmill or 10 minutes on the bike, and then a load of warm-up sets before I start loading it up.
Wow.
Otherwise, I'll start feeling like, not pains, but like I can feel like it's not warmed up properly.
Yeah.
So it's just those things where you've got to just work around it, I think. Like I say, I think at some point, I'm going to have like an operation of some sort. But whilst I'm still young-ish and can still get around and do things, I'm going to carry on that way, I think. I mean, it might make the operation more major when it comes around, but I've got too much on with like work and podcast, everything, like online coaching, all that. I've got too much on at the moment to be then having to go through proper rehab after an operation as well.
Yeah, no, that makes complete. Wait till you're like married and then you've got someone who can like cook and clean and follow you around.
I just can't. It frustrates me being on the crutches and not being able to do stuff for myself. I think that's the main thing. And then,
well, you're an independent boy, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's a lot. Like there's a lad that I play footy with who got his operation 3 weeks ago, and he said it's just doing his head in because he's quite like me. He's really energetic and just can't sit still. He always has to be doing something. But he said it's just doing his head in. Like, and I think that'd be the main frustration with me. To be quite honest, but it's one of them.
Oh dear, it's fine. We'll all be backing you then, and we'll actually look forward to like your rehab journey because I think you'll make good content regarding
another one.
Yeah,
I've already done one. Actually, there's been
it's like
2 on my Instagram. Actually,
another round.
No. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, let's go again.
Yeah,
more comebacks than Cliff Richard at Christmas. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, I like that one.
It's. I am conscious of the time, and I know you were pretty limited for time, so I think we'll wrap this one up. Thank you very much for coming on, Ziggy.
Thank you.
It's been a good chat. Finally.
I know it's been a while. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad at replying to messages, but hey, here we are.
Busy. That's why. Where can everyone find you on social media?
They can find me at GWFits. Jokes. That's so lame. But I usually people like blur out when you say your actual name. So anyway, you can follow me at Sigi Burger, which is SIGIBURGER. And if you guys ever want any questions regarding like ACL rehab or anything like sporting wise, where you feel like you just need your break but you can't find it, or you need like some sort of motivation or picking up, just DM me and I'm happy to help where I can. So yeah,
she might get back to you at some point.
You're welcome.
I'll put the link in the show notes below anyway. If you've been watching on YouTube, make sure you drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Turn the notification bell on.